Hi, and welcome to the I T'd Myself podcast. My name is Matthew Miniman, and this is episode 75. What can OG Bowser teach us about infrastructure architecture? So again, with me today, I have Jerome, the inimitable Jerome, the wonderful Jerome, the crazy Jerome. Spare no expense.
In Europe, I was known as Jerome the Gnome because I roamed.
Woo!
And for those of you who've watched AFN, yes, I hate that commercial too.
Well, so today we're going to talk about OG Bowser and infrastructure architecture. And so I don't know if you've ever played. You've played the original Mario, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I'm a good God-fearing human being.
All right.
Granted, that has nothing to do with playing original Nintendo. I had access to it, and a lot of people don't, and I shouldn't be so judgy. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Holy shit.
Yes, I played original Nintendo.
By the way, Nintendo, if you're hearing this, come at me, bro. I don't give a shit.
Whoa.
They are very protective of their IP. Unfortunately for them, this is covered under fair use. So fuck that.
What? Just.
Also, I'm not playing any of the Mario music, so I guess that's okay too.
Well, yeah, that would be too far.
Yeah, that'd be way too far. Anyway, if you can't tell, I hate copyright law. It's very dumb. Anyways, beyond that, so the OG Mario. So you know how going through OG Mario. At the end of every 4 levels, there's a giant castle. My daughter loves the fact that there's this giant castle that a princess is supposed to be in. But you have to go through these mazes, and imagine you're Bowser, right? You're Bowser, and you've set up this complicated maze and left allies to defeat your enemies at every point along your territory and domain. And this fucking plumber comes through to attack you and kills you. And how does he kill you? He just hops past you, your fire-breathing ass, and jumps on an axe that kills the bridge that is the only way into the protected area in which you've captured your princess.
To be fair, I mean, he's stuck now. He and the princess are going to die of starvation. They can't get back across that lava field, can they?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
OG Bowser is laughing at them from the bottom of the lava pit.
That does bring a good point. Why the fuck didn't Mario just go back the other way?
Yeah. Does he not know it's a 2D scroller?
Yeah, come on.
What's past that? Also, to be fair, on OG Bowser again, hey, the asshole went off screen. He climbs up on top. Like, what plumbing magic is that?
Well, you know, it's just Mushroom Kingdom. What else do you need to say? It's the Mushroom Kingdom.
Well, isn't that a flaw in the design of the game?
No, that was that. So not to get too far into it, but that was a debugging aspect that was left in the game. Because they needed to test certain aspects of the game, and instead of playing the game over and over and over again, they left ways to get through it faster. And that was what they did.
Interesting. So maybe debugging left in code can be exploited by others?
Holy shit. Mind blown.
Wait, totally. Is that tied to this podcast?
No. But that might be another episode we do. Holy shit. Yes. Anyway, so the original intent. So Bowser's created this entire infrastructure to protect himself and his now captured prospective wife, I guess, from being rescued, from harm. He's done all of this work, and the whole entire aspect of this is that he built this infrastructure to protect himself, but it can be easily defeated by hopping on a single point of failure, which is that axe that's sitting behind him. And, if you ever played it and you couldn't get past Bowser, well, get good, bro. But
ouch.
Yeah, I know.
What if you couldn't get to Bowser?
Well, then, his protections worked.
I will cry off screen.
His protections worked. Sometimes the protections work, obviously, because you die a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, that first Goomba that is in the first level of Mario is possibly responsible for the most deaths of any single fantasy character ever.
I wonder what the stats are on that.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. Anyway,
my daughter's died enough to probably feed half of that figure. So
fair.
Anyway, the whole point with this is that when designing your IT infrastructure, you need to make sure that you're designing your infrastructure, you're architecturing it so that there isn't a single point of failure. One of the things that is very easy to do is to fall into the trap of ease of use and ease of compliance and things like that. And so where this comes into play, and I don't know if you've ever had experience with this, but we have in the consumer or industrial realm, we have a lot of people who are like, I don't want to remember passwords. Like, having to remember a password is difficult. And so what you do is you sign them up, you do single sign-on. And typically when you do single sign-on, you link it to an already usable and productive authentication provider. Mm-hmm. And generally, most IT people will rely on Active Directory because AAA is great. Kerberos is fantastic. It works. Mm-hmm. And then those users have a single password they can remember.
Which is great for the user population, but can go somewhere bad. Are you about to tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Good,
so, you also have the option of adding SSO to things like your firewalls and your password managers and your security aspects like
that
your
sounds
EDR.
like a terrible idea. Would somebody actually go through and tie everything to one system?
Man, you would think that would be unthinkable, but oh my gosh, it is not.
Oh.
Yeah, it is actually a more common practice than I think
that
anybody.
Sounds like job security.
Yeah, right. So what actually brought the subject on in my mind was I've recently gone through a breach of a client, and it actually wasn't a client direct. It was a client it was a client acquisition. And they had essentially let their cybersecurity kind of lax, or lapse. I don't know. They relaxed their stance and had everything SSO'd through Active Directory, which is great for ease of use. I only have to remember one password to get in all of these things. But the complication of that is then you only need to have one password to get into everything.
Yeah.
Which is the problem. And so what happened in this specific instance is that an attacker got into the environment, created an admin account in the Active Directory domain, gave themselves a password, gave themselves a proper groups to gain access, and then gained access into literally everything in the environment. And that is exactly the wrong thing you want to do. The attacker was able to pivot across all aspects of their cybersecurity infrastructure and defeat it because they had everything SSO'd, single sign-on, with other within the other aspects of their environment. So it was a single point of failure.
A spectacular single point of failure.
Yeah, exactly. It was
like you can only be betrayed by somebody you trust,
and
you just made it so everything trusts one source.
Yeah, and it's an incredibly productive use of time to set up single sign-on. It can help a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
But my suggestion is, and in actually best practice is, do not set up single sign-on for your admin processes. You need to have something that protects those admin processes individually.
Well, particularly like admin processes that can give out permissions or create accounts.
Yeah.
Those two things should be very much locked down, very much monitored, and standalone.
Yeah, this is what we call privileged access management.
Yeah.
You need to have those privileged accounts managed by an alternative process, something outside of the normal authentication process, and that authentication process should then be vetted so that it can't be circumvented, or not necessarily that it can't be circumvented, but that it cannot be the only point at which you can manage those accounts.
Yeah.
So in this breach, so I'll give you guys sort of a play-by-play. What happens is this attacker gets in, they gain access to everything, they do what they do what attackers do, and they ransomware the entire environment. It then took me as the responder 6 times as long to do anything because we didn't have those passwords. I basically had to do the world's worst escape room, and I'll probably do an episode on why it's the world's worst escape room, but had to do the world's worst escape room to try to figure out everything in the back channels because I couldn't utilize Active Directory to get into anything. So I literally had to hack my way back into the environment to rescue the environment.
Piece by piece.
Piece by piece. Luckily, as good as attackers are at defeating cybersecurity, they're also really shitty about setting it up. So hacking what they put up, not hard.
And like your client was able to reach out to you guys, and you guys are professionals.
Yeah.
But if you're just a random business or a random entity, and you get hacked like this, and you get ransomware, you don't even necessarily know where to start. It could be super simple every time, or it could be super complicated. It could be a nation state. It could be Jim Bob down the street.
Yeah.
And varying levels of, like you're saying, Matthew, of intelligence on their side of like defending against the counter a hack. But like most of us don't have that.
Yeah.
Or don't have the time.
Yeah.
Because like mean time to failure is an IT term, not the one I meant to say. I meant more mean time until you run out of cash.
Yeah.
Until your business fails.
Yeah.
Or until your organization has some critical issues. Like most of us don't have time.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you're setting up your infrastructure, the way you need to design it is all of your user accesses, set it up whatever way is going to make the users happy and what's going to be secure. So utilize a single sign-on provider. Utilize any of the many single sign-on providers out there. Just not. Oh my god, I can't think of them now.
You got so serious.
I did because I
so
really
mad.
I won't tell people to use one.
There's a vein in his temple throbbing. I don't even know who this company is.
Yeah,
but
I won't
get him
tell
a sticker.
people to use a single company.
Oh,
I won't put my backing, but I'll tell you who not to use, and I can't fucking think of who they are now.
I'll tell you, everybody. When he remembers this company, I'm going to find stickers and put them on his laptop.
Oh, it's got to be so terrible. Anyway, you want to make sure that your security provider, whoever your single sign-on provider is trusted, and that you can get in, but don't link them to your admin processes.
Yeah.
Absolutely keep that separate. Keep your admin processes managed in another way. And you can utilize a separate privileged access management service for that. You can utilize a password sharing service, but make sure that those things are kept separate from the Active Directory environment. Because one of the things that will get you into trouble is if you link it to Active Directory, then again, the only thing that they need to do is compromise your Active Directory to gain access. And so, we have a password manager that we use. We utilize a pretty robust one that's specifically designed for the type of environments that we approach. But it's secured separately from everything else. I have the option of doing single sign-on, and in fact, I've gone the opposite direction. We have to sign in to it. We have to log in through the proxy to get to it with our Active Directory credentials, and then we can get into it from with our actual credentials into the password manager. And that's just to keep it from being accessed from the internet, because I don't necessarily trust the person who built the software that we use for the password manager. So yeah, it's zero trust. There's 2 layers of authentication there, and you can do that. And again, I know some people are going to poke holes in the fact that I'm using Active Directory as the initial access point to get in through the proxy, but it's not actually that Active Directory. It's a separate one. So there's different levels. Anyway, the whole point being, you need to design your architecture where your admin credentials are protected through different means. Absolutely make sure that you're designing your systems so that when you access them with your admin credentials, or you access your admin credentials, you're not having to go through Active Directory or whatever your primary source of authentication is. But also make sure it's all logged. That's another thing that got this company into trouble, is that they didn't log anything. And so because they didn't log anything, there was no indication of a problem. So I can't tell you how long the attacker has been in there, because you didn't do any logging. You haven't done any retention. So I don't know how far back you need to go in your backups before you know you're clean.
Yeah.
And
that's a shitty situation to find yourself in.
Yeah, and it doesn't take a lot to plan for it. That's the thing, is that it doesn't take a lot.
Yeah.
It's free and open source. You didn't have to do a whole lot. Just like with Bowser, man, if you had added just like a couple of more of those spinning wheels of death, you spent all that money to put him in the levels before. Why didn't you put him around yourself?
Or like childproof the axe, so it didn't just fall over when somebody bounced on it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
That seems like poor planning for a kid's game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Put a box around it.
Yeah, like display case.
maybe.
Yeah. Properly anchored, of course.
Yeah. Or maybe not even have the princess in a castle. Maybe put her in a hovel somewhere.
Maybe not kidnap. I mean, let's go to the foundation here.
That's not possible.
Is that going too far?
Well, I mean, he's a giant lizard. Of course he's going to steal, kidnap.
I think you're putting giant lizards in a box.
Well, yeah. Where else are you going to put them?
They're in a shell. Anyway,
we've got off the rails here.
Yeah. I want to emphasize, like, everything Matthew's saying is spot on. You have more users. Unless you're an organization of one, you have more users than you have admins. So treat them not differently, like they're like crazy different, but like let the users have their jobs, do their damn jobs, because they keep you employed, and make it easy for them. But make it hard for the admins. They should know better.
Yes.
They should have some idea that cybersecurity matters and that they're going through extra hoops for a reason. They are more trusted. They should be more monitored, and there should be more hoops or hops or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah.
Access to hop over.
Yeah.
But yeah, make it easy for the users. They are literally two tiers.
Yeah.
Users and admins, and all of us are users somewhere. And well, all of us are users at some point.
Yeah.
Like Matthew was saying, like he came in as a user and then became an admin. That's fine, but do it separate. Absolutely, do it separate.
Yeah. Make sure that is a good point. Make sure that you're not operating as an admin everywhere.
God, no.
Yeah, you've got to make sure that your daily driver account, that the one you log into when you first start doing things, that the login that you're operating under normally is just has enough permissions for you to do things. Don't be a local admin on your own system.
So the first thing I do when I get a new computer is bake another account. Yeah. If it's on a domain joined machine, make another account that's a local admin, and then take away my own admin rights.
That's right. That's right.
First damn thing.
That's got to be one of the things you got to do as an admin. Now, you want to make sure you do that just to protect yourself and your organization and your laptop as a whole from inadvertent attacks. You don't want to get to a position where you're not able to work because you got yourself hacked on accident. Or your authentication is defeating your own ability to do things. You don't want to get into a position where that's a problem, and so making sure that you have a separate user account will help with that. But the way that you want to design this into your system is you want to make sure that you are kind of isolated away as an admin from the rest of your organization. Bowser did that. Bowser put himself in a castle, and there's nobody else around him. There's no other users allowed in his environment in the OG Mario, and it's important to know that because if you allow users to get the same level of access that you have, they could hop on that axe themselves because they're kind of dumb. Let's just be honest. I don't have a high opinion of users, and obviously.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
but you got to watch out for them plumbers.
Yes,
there's some good users.
They're gonna use that wrench to do something.
They'll plumb it
and go down that pipe.
Yeah, if that sounded like an awkward silence, it was not a technical fallout. There was definitely an awkward silence.
Yeah. Anywho.
Yeah.
So yeah, all opinions expressed in this podcast are for satire purposes only.
Yeah, my opinion is explicitly mine and does not reflect my employer.
Okay, and so yeah, again, Nintendo, if you took any, if you were against anything that I said in here, you can go fuck yourself. For the rest of you, I hope you have a great day.